Madam Speaker, the Honourable Prime Minister, Cabinet colleagues, the Honourable Leader of the Opposition, Honourable Members of the House, ladies and gentlemen. Madam Speaker, yesterday, the 21st of March, marks the International Day of Forest, with the theme, Forests for Energy. My statement today is about how my ministry is strengthening collaboration with our international partners to deliver the Fiji First economic philosophy through innovative and inclusive initiatives for landowners to realize the true potential for their resource base and achieve sustained economic growth. Further, Madam Speaker, the Ministry of Forest is working towards wood energy development program in Fiji, and since 2014, the Ministry has been collaborating with GIMCO, a private investor from the Republic of Korea, to set up wood biomass processing plant for energy production in Fiji. The pilot plant is currently shaping up well in Navutu, Nadroga, along the Queen's Highway, with a capacity to provide 10.5 megawatt power to the national grid from May this year. This is an investment worth 92 million Fijian dollars through a consortium of investors from Korea and represented by GIMCO that has a joint venture partnership with Tropicowood Industry Limited, a subsidiary of Fiji Pine Limited. So basically, it is a joint venture between Korea and Fiji. The power plant will convert wood fiber and other waste to produce steam for power generation. This venture is offering the opportunity for the utilization of residual wood waste that has been accumulating in most local sawmills and wood processing plants, especially in Vitilevu, as well as offcuts and residues from logging sites that can be mobilized now to meet the biomass need of the company, at least in the short term. The company is currently scaling up the development of short rotation plantation of fast-growing wood energy species, such as Glycidia or Baridani, as we know in Fiji, that can be harvested within 18 to 36 months rotation as future fuel wood sources. Madam Speaker, my ministry is also venturing discussion on the utilization of the invasive African tulip species, or Pasi, as it is known in the Tauke language, for power generation and wood pellet production. Pasi, as we know, is a highly invasive tree species that is growing profusely over unutilized agricultural land. My ministry has been receiving a lot of questions and complaints over the years regarding African tulips. Attempt to eradicate using chemical has proven to be successful. However, most of our local small-scale farmers are finding it expensive. Biological control measure was also explored by the South Pacific Commission, area with limited success. Obviously, for government, the priority is to free up the prime agricultural land for food production in terms of food security and livelihoods development purposes. However, given the fact that African tulips can easily grow back after falling from the stems as well as from the branches, it is only appropriate that all biomass are accumulated for further processing to avoid further invasion in the future, and this is why the interest by ALTEC to utilize the biomass for pellet production will be beneficial for Fiji. Madam Speaker, this will be a mammoth task to undertake, and in order to attract private sector investment, government support and partnership is crucial. ALTEC, which is a local subsidiary of the Korean-based GIMCO, power generating company is interested to build a massive $400 million wood pellet processing plants in the Navutu area and targeting to utilize all the African tulips biomass that will be removed through government support. At the same time, the company will be expanding short rotation energy wood plantation of its own, as well as support, in partnership with government, the development of community-based short rotation energy woodlots to complement the future fuel wood sources for the plant. Fiji Nationally Determined Contribution, or NDC, under the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, UNFCCC, is specific to the energy sector, while further accounting will be needed to incorporate the mitigation potential from the forest sector in the future. This is understandable given the higher percentage of fossil fuel import, especially for the energy sector. Already, the National Energy Strategy has set a highly ambitious target of 100% renewable energy by 2030. This target can only be realized through strong government intervention, which, Madam Speaker, the Fiji First Government has already intervened in through the implementation of various initiatives under the Foreign Investment Act. And not only that, Madam Speaker, the government continues to add more incentives to attract investment and help grow our economy. This government, through an attractive taxation regime and investor-friendly and consistent policies, has enabled a conducive environment for foreign investors, especially with positive incentive mechanism for private sector investments to enable the expansion of a much broader energy mix that complement hydropower sources in the future. This is an opportune time to diversely use of the national forest assets and expand the forest sector contribution towards renewable energy and green economy. Madam Speaker, this wood energy program will create multiple benefits to the socio-economic development of the country. The targeted export volume of 500,000 meter cube of wood pellets is worth around 160 million Fijian dollars. It will create direct and indirect employment opportunity to around 1,000 people. Diesel import savings is estimated to around $30 million from the 5.7 million gallons per year that will be replaced through the 12 megawatts excess powers that can be further supplied into the national grid, and this will contribute to emission reduction offset of 120,000 tons carbon dioxide annually. Madam Speaker, in conclusion, the Ministry of Forest has established a multiple sectoral task force that includes the Ministry for Agriculture, the Ministry for Rural and Maritime, the Ministry for Itauke Affairs, and the Ministry of Environment to oversee the utilization by eradication of the African tulip species for wood pellet processing for export to power generation plants in Korea. This wood energy program argues well with the theme of the 2017 International Day of the Forest, which is Forest and Energy. International Day of the Forest, as declared by the United Nations General Assembly, is celebrated on the 21st of March. It signifies the importance of forests as sources of renewable energy, especially fuel wood for cooking and heating, as prevalent in most of our communities. While fossil fuels will remain as an important source of energy, renewable energy is gaining momentum as a result of the growing concerns over climate change, especially the increasing buildup of greenhouse gas emissions that causes unprecedented warming in the atmosphere that ultimately causes sea level rise. The forest sector has a broader role to play in fostering a sustainable and climate-smart development aspiration for Fiji into the future. Pinaka, Madam Speaker.
I now call on the Leader of the Opposition or her designate to deliver this response.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I thank the Honourable Minister for his statement regarding the development of biomass, especially in the Nadroga region, in the village of Navutu. Biomass, Madam Speaker, based on the way the Department of Energy is viewing Fiji's advance to green energy, are saying that this is a game changer. And we would like to see more of this in other parts of Fiji to be emulated. I congratulate the Korean company and the ministry for facilitating this, for making it possible as a starter on what could be a new industry that can help Fiji in a big way. But integral to this, Madam Speaker, is the partnership with the resource owners. As we know, Madam Speaker, we keep saying in Fiji, the resource owners are resource rich but cash poor. Through a formula that we can set up across the country for similar businesses, we can bring in the resource owners in a big way to be part of these types of undertaking. For instance, Madam Speaker, for this one in Nambo, GIMCO, 25% of the shares is held by Tropic Woods. Tropic Woods has not put any money into this, but only by virtue of laying the groundwork for the investor to come and set up. Now, I propose, Madam Speaker, that the landowners who have leased about 5,000 acres for growing these plants to grow the fuel should be given that share, 25%. They have the people of Nalolo, the villagers of Navutu, Lomoai, Kumbuna, Korokula, Tau, and Mbau. These are the people, Madam Speaker, who gave their land for Fiji pine. There was a time when you drove towards Nandi, there was this beautiful greenery all over those hills, those mountains. But Madam Speaker, 40 or 50 years later, the impact on their lives through pine has been virtually negligible. Now is the opportunity for us to rectify that. Make them become part of this company, take it away from Tropic Woods. Tropic Woods is doing a wonderful job, I give them that. But this is something that can help grow the wealth of the resource owners who are giving so much away but very little in return. I would suggest that that happens in Nambu, and that whenever you set up similar mills of this nature, that the resource owners are a major part of the equation. Madam Speaker, additional to that, they will need to grow this in a big way to supply wood. It'll be like supplying cane to a mill. Now, I don't know what the formula is, who's going to grow these plants, whether it's the company or grown by individual landowners. Whichever way it goes, it must have the support to enable the farmers to harvest their crops, whatever they plant, and deliver to the mill and paid for at a reasonable rate. And the support system to enable them to acquire seedlings, to grow, to manage, must be very similar to the support system we have for sugar. It's huge dollars, Madam Speaker, huge dollars if we can harness it properly, and to have in mind that Fiji will benefit in a big way. I mean, this Nambo will put about 10 or 12 megawatts into the national grid. It's huge dollars. $92 million is the investment. But integral to that, let's uplift the well-being of our resource owners who have given so much through the pine and now through this scheme. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
I now give the floor to the leader of the NFP or his designate to speak in response.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I thank the Honourable Minister for his statement. Madam Speaker, indeed, this is a positive development and one which is in line with the trend towards sustainable development, addressing climate change mitigation and moving away from the reliance on fossil fuel. As I said this morning, we still rely quite a lot on fossil fuel. In fact, 112 megawatts of diesel capacity, through the 14 stations around the country, is still a very much feature of our fuel and energy supply. Madam Speaker, overall research has shown that the impact of biomass energy has contributed towards carbon sinking, and in some ways it has been effective and efficient. And I note the capacity of this new facility for wood biomass energy, contributing about 10.5 megawatts towards the total energy supply. In fact, Madam Speaker, it's a timely contribution, because if you look at the Monosabo hydro scheme, which contributes about 80 megawatts, and it's been there for a while, and I'm not sure whether it's actually producing 80 megawatts because of the timeline in terms of the actual generator. So I'm assuming that the amount that the Monosabo hydro is producing is technically less than the 80 megawatts. So this is going to contribute towards that renewable energy portion of the total consumption. I want to add some cautionary notes to biomass production, especially based on the supply of wood. Madam Speaker, some research around the world has also shown that if not properly regulated and properly managed and properly incentivized, there could be a rush towards setting up more of these operations, and therefore you could see a negative impact on the destruction of forests and people and entities which want to supply it. This may not necessarily do so in the proper manner. So all I want to say is that this is a positive development, and we should all support this and promote it. But also we need to be careful about some of the negative consequences that can arise if the supply of wood and the way the forests are managed in the process can also have negative impact. So that's all I want to say with respect to this particular statement. Thank you.
Thank you.